Today we're on the Chimera server. I'm going to attempt to mechanically sort and compress cobblestone as I'm running out of storage space. After that, I'm going to get started on very basic AE2 crafting. So initially, my barrel here has been filling up. Being the first link off of the chest that everything comes in through, it will receive all the cobblestone. Everything else will be kicked into here, which then subsequently will be picked up by the train that just passed by. So, I'll want to get all the cobblestone out of this barrel and move it through a compression system and then move it into this container from where the train will pick it up. For this, we're going to add assemblers. So step one would be transport stone into assemblers. There we go. Now this assembler should, ideally as soon as I configure it correctly, start filling up with cobblestone. There we go. Then we're going to need a schematic, which is added somewhere in the configuration, I believe. That was not it. Let's see. Oh, that is supposed to be the schematic. There we go. So step one, compress to first level. There we go. And it'll start outputting over here, where again we haven't configured. So there we go. It's now configured to receive from that side. And we'll receive the second tier compressed cobblestone. Let's get that configured to compress them an additional layer. There we go. Might be a good idea to return these. We'll actually end up having something to compress the last bit with. We need input on this side, like with the other one. And again, output on the right side. And we'll add a schematic, and once again, compress. This brings us to the last. We'll be receiving from this side. And unlike the others, we're actually going to eject from the bottom. There we go. So we'll add the conduit. I'm going to remove the chest. And at the Ender IO conduit, and we will set it over here, whoops, to insert. It shouldn't be necessary to activate it, but just for good measure, there we go. In here is our triple compress, so we're obviously going to set this up to quadruple compress. There we go. As this one fills up, it'll start moving on, and I'll be back to check on it when I have moved on to AE2 crafting. So, step number 2, AE2 crafting. I have set up a few things in advance. This is the interface terminal. Any interfaces on the system will be accessible from here. There are none yet, as nothing is set up yet. This is the crafting terminal. When you add patterns to this, you can then add recipes for crafting. They will then, via the interface terminal, be added to the interfaces around the crafting system. This I'll go on to explain in detail. Do apologize for the noise. Here we go. So, essentially the concept is to have assemblers and use interfaces to drop the right content into the assemblers. We're going to be working with the channel system of AE2, and I will refrain from going too much into detail with that, as it is beyond the scope here. However, step 1, I will extend up here, and I will build the first crafting unit. There we go. So basically, We're going to place a molecular assembler, and then we're going to drop things into the assembler using the interfaces when we wish to craft. This will create the automatic crafting system of AE2. And there we go. So in here we'll add acceleration cards for speed. This will make it all work faster, which is really practical when you're waiting for something to be crafted. And there we go, and we close it up. This is the maximum of interfaces we can put on a molecular assembler, so that is the maximum we have. I am going to use colored cable to allow me to place these closer to each other. There we go, that one is connected. And this whole setup should be online within seconds. There we go. Very well. We can see the channels active up here. Alright, so at the same time we're going to demonstrate how you can use this to craft machine recipes as well. For this I'm going to be able to see where I have the power right there. I'm going to place the sawmill here. It'll be the first step in the line. Add from the top, and remove from the bottom. And again, we're going to use the conduit, as there's going to be a fair amount of these, so it just seems more practical to seems more practical if we do it this way. So I will add everything to a chest from everything that is crafted down here, and then from that chest import into a AE with the AE import bus. I'll connect this up here. And for the sake of this demonstration, we'll actually need an additional interface, so I'm going to borrow one from over here. This interface will be connected up top. There we go. So this interface being online and this being powered up, we're about ready to go. Let's return to the top level where all the terminals reside. Again, I am using the dark suit from Ender.io to facilitate movement in my base. This is a lot easier than any alternatives I've been able to find, aside from the grabby suit, which we'll get to later on. I'm just going to quickly sleep, as I have a creeper spawner in the middle of my base that I'd rather not receive any collateral from. Alright, so at this point we're going to go to the interface terminal. This is, see, the molecular assembler has 5 interfaces. It'll have 6 when we're done. And down here is the sawmill. Up here I can create crafting recipes, so I'm going to place blank patterns up here, and then I'm going to, let's make wooden planks. So I'll put oak wood here. I'm going to tell it that it's a processing pattern, and then I'm going to add oak wood in the center, and then result, as I remember it, would be probably 5 planks when you run it through. Might be 6. It doesn't really matter. We'll just have a surplus of planks between crafting if I'm wrong. It's worth it to research this, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'll keep it fairly simple. Now this is then a processing pattern for 5 oak wood planks generated from 1 oak wood. I'm going to switch then, and then I'm going to use oak wood to make sticks. There we go. So now I should be able to go in here and place the sticks in the molecular assembler, so they'll be assembled, and the oak wood on the sawmill. This means that whenever I choose to craft oak wood in my system, it'll send it to the sawmill. Now, the only way to provoke this behavior is by removing, the oak wood from the system so that we're actually out. Okay, crafting oak wood planks. I'm going to say I need 100. It'll be 107. That's perfectly alright. Okay, oh yeah, we're gonna need to set up the crafting CPU as well. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I am back with the basic setup. So we're gonna place a crafting storage here and a co-processing unit. Crafting storage can vary in size like any other AE2 recipe with storage. I've chosen the 4K as it was what I had laying around. Bigger recipes will require more storage capacity, as the AE2 system, unlike the old AE, actually pulls everything it's crafting out and contains it, which also means you can't break your own crafting by removing stuff. Once it's started, it's going until it's done. Now let's start on the wood again. So oak wood planks, and let's say we need 200 of those. There we go. So they're in process now, and we should be able to go down and see them running through the sawmill. So here we go. And success. As we're able to see here, the sawmill's currently processing. Of course, I have forgot to set this one to insert, which means it currently wasn't ejecting. It is now, and it'll continue processing until it has everything it needs to have, and the AE2 system will start importing as we go. So basically that should be it. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I am going to craft a couple of sticks just to demonstrate how that works, and then we should be able to call it a day. Any questions can be added to the comment field, and I'll be happy to respond to suggestions for anything else. Likewise. So here we go on crafting sticks. I'll just craft 10. It'll be 12 because, well, that's what you get when you get 4 at a time. Currently no crafting CPUs are available. This is likely because it is still working on oak wood planks. Yes, these will return to the system shortly. There we go. So as they return to the system, the crafting CPU will become available. Adding more CPUs will allow more processes to run in parallel. Adding more assemblers will allow certain things to run, things on different assemblers to run separately. So basically the whole system can be set up to craft a whole lot of stuff at the very same time, including using machines. There we go. It finished already. So that is it for the sake of this tutorial, and I hope it was useful.